Construction champions. Built for leaders who want more than average in construction and in life. No fluff, no excuses. Just the truth, the standards, and the mindset it takes to win. Welcome to Construction Champions.
Welcome back, Construction Champions. I'm your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode. Make sure you hit that like, that follow, that subscribe button wherever you're listening, and share this episode with somebody that needs it. Rarely ever talk about that, but how important it is to get this information in everybody's hands, especially here in 2026, where we're trying to put you in a position to solve some of the biggest problems in your business. There's people around you that have the same problems, and we should help them solve them as well. So please like, follow, and subscribe to the show. But let's dive into it. I was going through a bunch of different assets that I made throughout the years. One-pagers, ebooks, all of this stuff, all of this information. And I came up on a one-pager about the 5 biggest communication breakdowns and the fixes. And I was like, oh, and the fixes, because that's what really matters. Like, we can all call a problem out, but can we really offer the solution? And being committed to that here this year, I thought, let's dive into this. Let's go over some of my thoughts on why communication breaks down. How do we fix it? How do we just take action? And that's what we're going to go over. I have made the last almost 4 years of my life about communication. And how do we just do this better? I built a software for it. I've spoke on stage all over the country about it. It matters a lot more than the construction industry gives it credit for. I still say it's the elephant in the room. It's the thing that we all know we can suck at. We might think we're great at, but are we really? One thing we found out was we felt like we were really good at communication. Compared to our competitors and everybody around, yeah, we were. But if you would go and actually dig deep into it, it was one of the biggest bottlenecks within the company. We were still burning cash because of communication breakdowns. And customers did not always feel that we were great at it. So those are hard questions you have to ask yourself. Even though you might be better than everybody else around at it, are you really good enough to stand on it? I want you to ask yourself that question. It just doesn't have to do with communication, with anything. Because being better than the guy down the road at something doesn't mean you're actually giving your customers and your clients and your employees and those that count on you and the people you do business with the absolute best experience that you could be giving them. When the bar is low and you come just a little bit above it, you're not going to this higher level. You're not going to this place where, hey, we have fixed this and it is perfect how it is now. So think about that in every aspect of your business. And let's dive into them. The 5 biggest communication breakdowns, how to fix them, and the action to take. Let's start with number 1. No single source of truth. Here's the problem, very simply stated. Texts, emails, calls, photos scattered everywhere. You know the pain, you have felt it. Not being able to find that message, not being able to figure out exactly what's going on. Here's the fix. One place where all project communication lives. Now, I love everybody on here to use Builder Comms because this is what I built for it. But it doesn't have to be builder comms. It should be, because it was built for that. But if you just decide this is where all of our communication is going to live, if you're only going to email, just email. If you're only going to send text messages, just send text messages. But decide on one and stay with it. Don't be jumping around. Like, this is a core thing of how do we fix communication is it's one thing we want to silo down. We don't want it to be all over the place. We want it to live in one source of truth where no questions can be asked about it because it's all there. So the action is pick one channel where project updates happen. Everything else feeds into it. Number 2, unified communication roars. Problem: clients don't know who to contact. How many times have you been talking to a client and you just thought, I am not the person they should be talking to? I used to pick up the phone all the time, be like, hey, I looked up online, you are the person I need to talk to. And I would have to immediately apologize that I am not. And with that mean, understand what's happening and we'll figure out who you need to talk to within the company. And this causes so many breakdowns because what happens is the industry standards is, hey, sorry, I'm not the guy. And then a sticky notes gets created. And we all know what happens with sticky notes. It's where the stuff goes to die. 7 days later, you are now dealing with a pissed off customer because you dropped the ball. So the fix: assign one communication owner per project. Who is that point of contact? Who should they reach out to? Action: tell the client. Because if you say, this is the person that is in charge of the project, this is who you should be talking to, this is your one point of contact, and then you don't tell them, they're going to continue to do the same things. Doesn't sound like rocket science, does it? Like, just have open communication with the client on this. Define the roles. Who is responsible for what, and how does that work? See, we start with one. The reason we start with one is because communication can be very complicated, and we want to start to put the right systems in place around it. So start with one person that is in charge of that communication with that client. Everything goes through them. That easy? Number 3, vague status updates. Problem is we use terminology and lingo of like, we are working on it. What does that mean? The client has no idea, and we have to reel this in. The fix to this is standardized status language. What do I mean by that? Scheduled, in progress, waiting on X. We actually say what we're waiting on. Completed. We start to use language on everything that everybody understands what it is. Sales, operations, installation, marketing, we all start using the same language. No more having it to where the sales guys are calling it this and the installers are calling it that. Creates confusion for the client. They think, that's not what was said. So let's start to standardize our languages on how we talk around what we do. This will have such a shift in the communication because this will eliminate problems that don't exist that become problems because two different people use different terminologies or they were vague about something. So the action is simply just use it. Say, this is how we're going to talk. This is how we're going to communicate. We are going to use words like schedule, in progress, waiting on X, completed. and then just do that. Every time, no questions, just make it happen. Number 4, no written decisions. I'm going to repeat that one. No written decisions. The problem is verbal changes get forgotten. Conversations on the job site get forgotten. They don't get invoiced. They end up in problems. Sometimes they don't even happen because it was just a verbal conversation. Written decisions create a proof of record. It creates a timeline. It creates accountability. It creates expectations. It's why it is so important that when we're communicating, if stuff is changing, we are also taking the time to document it in writing. So the fix, every decision gets written confirmation. The action is simply, after any call, send a summary message. What changed? Why? What happens next? Think about that. You know, a 5-minute phone call with the client. Some stuff gets changed. A couple of things are changing. You hang up the phone and you continue on doing what you're doing and they continue on doing what they're doing. 30 days later, it was like, well, what about that conversation we had? Well, what conversation? Because nothing got documented. Because when that notebook comes in handy, just quickly jot it down so later on you can confirm it by whatever you're using to do your communication. Shoot that message over to the client. Let them confirm what was said and changed, what happens next, any of that in writing. So it moves it from a phone call to something that is actually now submit. We have a written record. We now have proof of this conversation and what was said. Easy. Like what we're talking about here today, these first 4 are not rocket science. We're not rewriting anything. All we're doing is putting structure, putting a framework behind how you communicate with your customers. So it's no longer just we're throwing stuff out randomly. Like we thought about this. It's now structured. We now know how we're going to do this. Number 5, reactive communication. This is my favorite one on the list. I think this is the number one thing that could be changed. In the entire construction industry, this isn't just with communication. Reactive. The problem is, clients only hear from you when something goes wrong. That is when they that is when they hear from you. Because we're reactive in nature. We're not proactive, which is the fix. The fix is proactive updates. Having a system in place, how we're going to update them. Is it daily? Is it going to be twice a day? Beginning of the day, end of the day? Are we doing lunch? Like, what does it look like from a proactive perspective? So then when those problems arise, it doesn't feel like, oh, every time they talk to me, it's because there's a problem. The action is just send a weekly update, even if nothing changes. Being proactive with our communication just saves headaches. I know this from experience. If we are proactive, the headaches will start to go away. The trust goes through the roof that they have in you. So let's go through these real quick one more time. Number 1, no single source of truth. 2, undefined communication rules. 3, vague status updates. Number 4, no written decisions. Number 5, reactive communication. Here's a quick checklist for you. 1 communication channel, 1 project contact, weekly updates, written decisions, clear status language. Implementing just these can cut callbacks in half. And if you're saying, hey, Ron, there ain't no way, I don't believe that for a second, I dare you to try. Implement these 5 things and tell me if your callbacks are not cut in half. Challenge it. Because I've been there, I've watched it with enough companies, and I've lived it firsthand. I know this list right here can have a great impact on your business and your life and your happiness. So, Construction Champions, once again, I'm Ron Nussbaum. Like, follow, and share the show. And until next time, be the champion you're meant to be.
If this episode helped you think differently, share it with someone on your team. And make sure you're following the show. Every conversation like this helps raise the standard for our industry. Until next time, go be the construction champion you're meant to be.